We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're on Gangai FM in Jirapa, Flow FM in Aflao, Kekeli Radio in Ho, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Radio Max in Takrade. You can go digital on Twitter Spaces, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com app this afternoon.
I repeated him for my second term. For me, their performance in my first term was excellent. Let me use that word, excellent.
You must sack Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and Charles Dubois, or we will boycott the budget and other government business. That's the warning from 80 majority MPs to President Akufo-Addo.
A notice is hereby said that until such persons as aforementioned are made to resign or removed from office, we, members of the majority caucus here in Parliament, will not participate in any business of government by or for the president.
Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee hints at moves to use parliamentary procedure to remove the Finance Minister if the President remains adamant.
I don't think it's in the interest of our side of government to remove our minister. But when push comes to shove, to save the party, the government, so whatever it takes.
We'll hear their justification and explore the issues at hand. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo seeks input from bankers, industry players and the Council of State on ways to reverse the downward turn of the Ghanaian economy ahead of a major announcement Sunday night.
There's no debate about the economic challenges that we are going through in this country.
And as the Association of Ghana Industries remains concerned about the cedi depreciation, transport unions also say they will not back down on the decision to increase fares by 40%.
I think the biggest issue is the currency.
There is nothing that we can do than to come up with this increment. Actually, this increment was supposed to come way back in July.
We have our Living Standard series for today. And then also in sports.
The Ghana Football Association and Ashanti Gold are back to court today as the fight to get the Ghana Premier League back continues.
And later in the bulletin, we have a special feature musically reflecting how Ghanaians may be feeling in this economic crisis. We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details.
I came to office in 2017. Good. Under an IMF program, stringent program. This same man was able to manage the affairs of our economy in such a way that the first 4 years of my first term, we were one of the fastest growing economies in the world, an average growth rate of 7% a year. So somebody who has been able to do that, why would I say that? How do I do that? How do I do that? What would be the basis? What is the rationale? First time no crown, matter. And so can be repeating my second term.
President Akufo-Addo's response to loud calls from his political opponent, independent political and economic analyst for his finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta to be sacked. Men of God joined as well, but Mr. Ofori-Atta remains in office. In an unprecedented move, about 80 members of parliament for the governing New Patriotic Party are demanding the removal of finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta and the minister of state at the ministry, Charles Dubois, or they will boycott government business on the floor. Member of Parliament for Santiachim North, Andy Apiakubi, who addressed a news conference in Parliament, blamed the finance minister for the current state of the economy, warning they will stay out of the 2023 budget presentation and debate if the demand is not met.
We are members of the majority caucus of the Parliament of Ghana, and we here so present a greater number of the said caucus. My name is Andy Apiakubi, and I am only here as spokesperson for the majority group, without more. We have had occasions to defend allegations of conflicts of interest, lack of confidence, trust against the leadership of our finance ministry. The recent developments within our economy are of great concern to the greater majority of members of our caucus and our constituents. We have made our grave concern to the President through the parliamentary leadership and the leadership of the party without any positive response. We are by this medium communicating our strong desire that the President change the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State in the Finance Ministry without further delay in order to restore hope into the financial sector and reverse the downward trend in the growth of the economy. The summary of our concerns leads to a plea that the Minister of Finance, Honorable Kenneth Ofori-Atta, and the Minister of State of the Ministry of Finance, Honorable Charles Edubuahin, be removed from office. We pray that this prayer will be carried to the presidency.
Well, let's go live to Parliament, and correspondent Kwekwa Santi joins us on the line. What a way for Parliament to resume sittings today. But first, give me names of these MPs backing the move.
So MPP MPs brought a sheet where a majority of the MPs were signing on. They've taken the list from us at the moment, and they said they will bring it back. But there are some names that are leading this drive, including Eugene Boachi, MP, the MP for Subin, the committee chairman for local government, Sani Suleiman, John Frimpong, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, former gender minister, Carlos Ahinkra, Tema West MP and former deputy trade and industry minister, Dixon Adomako, the health committee chairman, Dr. Ayu Efriye, Patricia PJ, Alex Tete, and Paula Prechum. These are the guys who held the press conference leading this call, and they said they are speaking for 80 MPs who have all signed on to a petition of a sort that they are going to make available to the press.
Well, it appears I hear a lot of former ministers and others. But really, from the list that you saw before it was taken away from you, do we have any current ministers or deputy ministers in there?
Indeed, there are no deputy ministers or ministers substantive at the moment. But my source tells me that there are some ministers who were part of the original idea to ask the president to sack Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. But that because they are cabinet ministers, they cannot do this. What I'm learning is that within the last 3 months that Parliament has been on break, the majority MPs, through majority of their chairmen, have communicated to the president their intention to support any move to remove the finance minister in Parliament, but that they were giving the president the opportunity to sack him, and that if he was not sacked, they were going to vote with the minority to remove him. That has fallen on deaf ears, prompting them to take this action.
Meanwhile, we want to serve notice, and notice is hereby served, that until such persons as aforementioned are made to resign or removed from office, we, members of the majority caucus here in Parliament, will not participate in any business of government by or for a president, by any other minister. We hope that those of us of the backbench and members of the majority caucus will abide by this prayer. We are saying that if our request is not responded to positively, we will not be present for the budget hearing, neither we will participate in the debate.
Well, Kweku, you've also been interacting with the Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee, Patrick Boama. He's been raising concerns about challenges facing government appointees.
Indeed, his concern is that if the party does not take some drastic measures on some of these appointees, they would have to kiss goodbye to the 2024 election.
And it's affecting the performance of MPs and MMDCs who are appointed by the president. Then steps ought to be taken. We need to hear from our finance minister, we need to hear from the president on steps that are being taken. Because when it comes to the removal of a minister, the Constitution says you need to test of members present and voting ballot. From the way things are, you cannot guarantee it. You cannot. So I don't think it's in the interest of our side of government to remove our minister. But when push comes to shove, to save the party, the government that we are asking to break the age, which I don't believe in, I believe in winning successive elections. We are not here to win 2 elections and say we are breaking the no. So whatever it takes for the government to put in place the right measures, if it requires removing all the cabinet ministers and setting up a new government, we will support it.
Well, Kweku, briefly though, let's talk about the NDC MPs. What have they been saying about it? Because we know that this is a view they've expressed many times.
Indeed, according to Minority Whip Ahmed Ibrahim, yesterday the side indicated to the majority leader that they are filing a vote of censure to remove the finance minister. And so it's expected that they will be laying that before the House today or tomorrow. They say they are ready and they have support from some majority MPs. And if the president does not sack the minister, they will vote to remove him on the floor.
If they mean well, you need to test majority of parliamentarians to sack the finance minister. So it should not be majority coming to make a press conference, the minority coming to make press conference. If you have 137 minority, 137 plus 1 majority, and both sides believe that the finance minister is killing the economy and therefore he must go, it should not be difficult to mobilize 183 MPs to dismiss or to reshuffle him.
Well, let's explore the political implications of this. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asante, who is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. Let's talk about this move by the NPP MPs. Is it the case, like we see in the local parlance, that the frog is taking in too much water?
The decision is being long overdue. One would have thought that they've taken it a long time. They've waited till this time. But you know what? Better late than never. All right? Because, you see, this decision is very, very important. People have called on the president to change some ministers and bring in new energies to augment the whole process and make it solid. The president has been very much adamant. But this group, which today they voice their grievances out, I think is the right decision at the right time. Why am I saying that? Because, look, politics, as I've always said, is a contest of ideas and a referendum of your work. And the work of government, particularly with the issue relating to the economy, is so important that you can't do without. And it's one variable, that is the economy, that influences voter choices in this country. So the party don't want to sit down whilst this thing continues. So they have decided to take this decision. For me, I applaud them. It's a good one. They should continue because it will now force the hand of the president. If he doesn't want to budge, then they want to take the route of what? Censor, where they want to censure and then get the minister removed.
Well,
and this is a call that the minority has always said. So I'm sure when they tie their apron string together, they will be able to make that decision if the president decides not to listen to them.
Okay, but let's talk about the implications of this. Could it be described as a vote of no confidence in the president? Because many have said that they could have done this behind the scenes rather than what we saw today.
I'm sure that they've explored all the internal processes and it never worked. And then you know that in politics, if push come to shove, you take a drastic decision because the president is leaving, mind you, after his tenure, and that you need the legacy of the party to stand in order for whoever will succeed him to stand on it and campaign. And this, they realize that the continuous position of the president being adamant will affect the future fortunes of the party, and that is why they are coming out strongly to do that. For vote of no confidence, it will be too much to say. But this thing also, as a political scientist, sends a message to me that if you look at a system and it's not performing, at a point in time, this decision of members of parliament suggests that we can also take up the conversation of bringing back the parliamentary system of government, where you see that if things getting deteriorated, you can quickly issue a vote of no confidence and a new government comes in.
Okay. Well, Dr. Kwame Asasante, we are grateful. This is an issue we'll certainly explore further subsequently. He's a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Well, whilst the majority MPs, the 80 of them, have been asking the president to sack the finance minister and also the minister of state and the ministry, Charles Edubuahing, there have been 3 different level meetings, but only one agenda: the economy and how to turn it around. The Bank of Ghana, the economic management team, and President Akufo-Addo are holding separate meetings with interest groups to seek their input on proposals to address the depreciation of the cedi and restore confidence in an ailing economy. The Information Minister, Kojo Ponkrumah, announced this yesterday at an emergency news conference.
Series of discussions aimed at ensuring that the supply of forex onto the forex markets is stabilized and the overpricing is also halted, and that people who need access to forex for legitimate transactions can get same without hindrance in the banking halls and at the forex bureaus, as against on the black market or using some rates coming from some other quarters. They'll also be looking at, I think, some of the longer lasting measures to ensure that forex trade is stabilized.
So 3 separate meetings there. Presidential correspondent Elton Broby has ears and eyes in all 3. Joins me in studio. But first, has the president responded to the MPs?
Not yet, Emefa. The president will be chairing about 4 different meetings at the Jubilee House, starting at 1:30, and hopefully these are all matters relating to the economy. We're hoping that he may say something about what his MPs in Parliament, some of them, have done.
So then let's focus on the Bank of Ghana meeting with operators of forex bureaus. What are the proposals on the table?
So what we have just picked, the meeting is ongoing, what we have just picked is that there are 4 main issues on the table. One is that the Bank of Ghana should direct all banks to stop over-the-counter forex cash payment to anyone. All payments for those traveling must be in a traveler's check or forex prepaid card. There's also a proposal for the Bank of Ghana not to allow any internal transfer or payment of forex into any local account. The third issue we are picking is that international transfers and wiring must only be allowed for the payment for essential goods and services. And then finally, forex payment for non-essential goods and services must be cut down by 70% and should not be allowed at all at this very moment. These are the matters we are picking. Is dominating the discussions between the Bank of Ghana and operators of forex bureaus.
Do we have an agreement on that yet, or is still being deliberated?
The meeting is still ongoing.
Okay. And the economic management team meeting also being chaired, interestingly, by the vice president. Tell us more about it.
So what we have again picked is that the embattled finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to brief them on his engagement with the International Monetary Fund and the agreement that they've come to with the IMF working committee, because they have to approve of this before the board approve the final document. So this is what has been put before the economic management team for them to deliberate and come to a decision ahead of the cabinet meeting. Alan Chemantin, who is the Minister for Trade and Industry, provide more answers on these matters.
So ordinarily, I would have ventured to give you a ray of hope and make a statement about how we intend to address the challenges confronting our country. But the team from Ghana has just returned, in fact, some of them yesterday and today. And as the economic management team, it's now that we are going to debrief and find a way of identifying entry points for solving the problems that we are going through. We hope to be able to overcome the challenges that confront our economy. I say this because we have to work together in finding solutions to the challenges. This is not a matter for politics.
Well, and then the big one, the president's meeting with some interest groups. First, tell us about the attendees.
So we have the Association of Ghana Industries, and then they will be followed by the Ghana Association of Banks, and then Council of State. And the Council of State meeting is specific on the economy and issues of Galamsey. And then finally, GPRT and other transport unions.
Well, and do we know the issues that may dominate discussions?
So I have been speaking to the Vice President of the AGA, Ashok Mohamani, who says that the city depreciation is a major concern for them.
Moment, there's quite a lot of speculation. I think the biggest issue is the currency. I believe it's crossed over. We're nearly touching 15. And I think probably more communication on what is happening would be helpful. A lot of the input costs have gone up, and many of the manufacturers are facing issues on sustainability, be able to sustain the cost of the high costs of manufacturing, as well as even be alive. So that's a real concern.
And you had a bite with the Bankers Association too.
Yeah, so the bankers, a member, Godfrey Gluka, says that the way things are going, they may not be able to even lend to the informal sector if Matters does not change.
Finance sector is a backbone of the Ghanaian economy because basically we impact the less vulnerable in the communities. The market women, we try to give them loans to bring them their businesses up. But currently there's a few challenges that they are also facing because of the increase in prices every now and then. So basically what is happening is that they go to the market today, tomorrow the price has changed, and the kind of money they need to buy the goods has doubled. So obviously it's affecting our business, and their repayment is also being affected.
And the last group to meet the president will be the transport unions, but they've been speaking to you ahead of the meeting.
Exactly, and government officials said they are concerned about the rise in inflation, which is fueled by transport and food. Now, the transport union says that they put forth a proposal before government asking that they are allowed to increase transport fare by 40%. President Akufo-Addo is looking for it to convince them to come to at least 15%. We've been speaking to the PRO of the GPRT, Samuel Amoa.
We understand the economic hardship now, but we also, this is the business that we do to also, survive. This is the same business we do to take care of our wives, our children, and our future. And based on how the situation is now, the component that we are using, the fair where it is now, there is nothing that we can do than to come up with this increment. Actually, this increment was supposed to come way back in July. July, we were supposed to increase it. We didn't.
So then what happens after these meetings?
So on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there's going to be a cabinet retreats at Peduas. In all these matters that's ongoing today, Bank of Ghana, the economic management team, President Akufo-Addo's meeting with rich interest group, all of them will form the basis for this cabinet meeting. And then Sunday night, the president will address the nation on measures that will be taken to address the ailing economy.
Elton Brobe, Presidential Affairs Correspondent, thank you very much. It takes us straight to our Living Standard series. Will the anchor hold as the struggle to meet ends continue?
The salary I was receiving in January, that's the same as salary I'm taking now. But I spend more than 100 cedis on transportation.
I can sit at home for 4 months and go to work for a month. So how do you survive? You spend all your money, you can't even buy anything. You can't even save.
It is a busy morning in Accra's business district. Thousands of people are commuting to their various destinations. Among them are workers who, despite stagnant wages, are now spending more on transportation costs. Many people are now living on the outskirts of Accra to avoid paying high rents, but they are spending more money on transportation. I meet Richard, a carpenter on his way to see a client. His daily commute is at least 40 cedis. He has a wife and 6 children.
And in and out, sometimes 60 cedis. So because of that, you have to sleep at the site so that you can get the job done. You have to save money. There's so much expenses. You are aware. Children, school fees, feeding fees. I mean, it's a whole lot. Sometimes you want to give up, but you can't give up because you are giving birth to them already. You have to do all that you can to make sure that they go to school, they eat.
Well, to take a quick break here on the Midday News. You're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi, on Love 99.5 FM. We're on over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. You must sack Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and Charles Edubuahin, or will boycott the budget and other government business. That's the warning from 80 majority MPs to President Akufo-Addo. It remains to be seen what the president's response will be. When we return, we have sport, and then later in the bulletin, we have a special feature musically reflecting how Ghanaians may be feeling in this economic crisis.
Baby,
Thanks for choosing us. Let's do sports. Fentuo Tahiru. Fentuo has the latest.
Yes, Emefa, and some breaking news just coming in. And Accra High Court has dismissed Ashanti Gold's injunction application against the Ghana Premier League. This means the GPL can resume whenever the GFA deems fit. The league has been suspended since 29 September 2022 following court action from Ashanti Gold, who claimed a GFA disciplinary committee decision to demote them was unfair. That's not the only issue the country's football governing body is grappling with at the law courts. The association's executive council members have also been cited for contempt. That was after they went ahead to start the Ghana Premier League despite a court order asking them not to. Michelle Koino was in court for Joy Sports.
Besides Dr. Randy Abe, Frederick Achampon, and Sami Enim Ado were the only members of the GFA Exco Committee absent at this morning's hearing. The hearing, which lasted over 2 hours, has been adjourned to 26 October with the aim of determining whether or not Dr. Abe was served with an order for interlocutory injunction made by the court on September 28th. Alice Amma, bailiff at the court, who indicated he served Dr. Abe with the injunction, a claim the GFA Exco member denies, was cross-examined by GFA counsel Naldo Fule after giving his testimony. Hearing for the case will resume tomorrow.
As Joy Sports is Michelle Coyne there. So, MFA, good news.
Yeah, great. It's certainly an Action Tuesday. Thank you very much, Fent. Now, it started with a video on social media of a vehicle set ablaze and an injured person lying on the floor with passers-by calling for help. The incident happened in Jolu around 7 p.m. Eyewitnesses and neighbors alleged that the occupants of the vehicle earlier tried to possess a house by demolishing it. They tried escaping from an angry mob after a failed attempt to demolish the building. The vehicle, a Toyota Land Cruiser 2017 registered, entered a drain after the driver lost control of that vehicle. The mob then set the vehicle on fire and then allegedly assaulted the occupants of the vehicle. My colleague Michael Ashali has been to the scene. He joins me in studio with details. Do we know the persons involved?
Well, so the police statement that we have here mentions 2 individuals here. This was released this morning, and it says that the suspect allegedly organized some thugs with an excavator to demolish a 4-bedroom apartment building at Jolu on 24 October 2022. He goes ahead to mention 2 names. One, James Kwenu, and another who tried Onowusu Banahene, who tried to escape police arrest as well.
Well, we are concerned about the person who was lying on the floor in the video. Do we have an update on him?
So the police says the injured suspect is at the hospital receiving medical attention. Although they were not able to provide his photograph, they tell us that investigation is still ongoing to unravel the cause of the matter.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Michael Ashale. And of course, there's a music side to almost everything. Mapitso Sibidi of Joy Entertainment in the following report looks at some old and recent hit songs that may reflect how Ghanaians may be feeling today.
There is no doubt that President Akufo-Addo was the choice of the people in 2016 and 2020. He won the polls, promising to deliver economic growth and prosperity. But Ghanaians may well have reason in this economic situation to sing one of Irama Beidu's classics. Government pushed through its e-levy policy despite the warning that it may not yield much or be the magic bullet that stops a quest to seek an IMF support. The verdict is out. Is everyone feeling the pinch though? Some are still driving luxurious vehicles while others struggle to get a meal a day. We must, however, have hope. Because there is nowhere to go.
Well, in all this, there's something to look forward to. That's tomorrow is the National Science and Maths Quiz Grand Finale. We focus on Lionel Sefa Boachi Yadom, who was only in class 4 when he started dreaming of representing Prempeh College at the National Science and Maths Quiz. Maxwell Agbagba has the rest of his story.
Spontaneous jubilation here at the Sarah Mensah Auditorium
Prempeh College has just qualified for the finals of the 2022 National Science and Maths Quiz. On stage smiling is one of the school's contestants, Sefa Boachi Iadom Lionel. His inspiration to be an NSMQ contestant started many years ago.
On class 4, we were watching the quiz with my mom, and then a settled riddle came. I think the answer was carbon dioxide. So after answering it, I felt, oh, I can do this, so I tried my best.
For one of Adesadel College's contestants, Parkwisi Abuaji, his interest to represent the school started after completing junior high school. That year, Adisco's performance was not the best.
Started when I completed junior high school.
Okay.
After we've chosen our schools, then I saw Adesadel competing in the semi-final. Okay, but it didn't really go on for us. So I decided that if I get to attend Adesadel, I'll try my possible best to represent our school, the school.
The 2022 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and is sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with APSA Ghana and supported by Goyle, Prudential Life Insurance, Airtel Tigo. The broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Virtual InfoSec Africa, Virtual Security Africa, Vitamilk, Cowbell, Alumni by Enterprise Life, Fatex Toilet Roll, Ace Medical Insurance, Azar Group, Kings Group Limited, Family Health Medical School, DBS, ZNZ, the Basto School, Koba, and Lumitrust.
And Smart App and NASCO make it possible for us to bring you the National Science and Maths Quiz. Remember, the finals of the 2022 National Science and Maths Quiz is happening tomorrow, Wednesday, at the Great Hall of the KNUST. It will be live on all our platforms. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Sack Kenu Furiata, majority MPs tell the Kufado. We have Living Word with Pastor Men Sotobil. We talk about wholesome living. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for your company.